Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is my quest for England and Englishness, its landscape, its heritage and nature. It's a personal journey and I'll document it for all to see. So come on, join me and let the quest begin. Remember this? Me, sitting in my van at Rowland Castle, having a cup of tea, saying, I'll have a quick peek at Stansted Park before I go, and then not doing it. Well, I did have a shufty, only we didn't have time to squeeze it in the last episode, but today we can. So I managed to make it into Sussex, I think now, and I'm just walking through Stansted Park. Shrieks from children, lots of dog walkers, and I have to say, a huge smell of dog feces, and they're all over the place. I'm having to watch my feet. Clearly everybody from Rowland's Castle comes here and walks their dog, but the really sad part is they don't seem to be cleaning up after them. And they're absolutely everywhere. I've got a horrible feeling I may have trodden in one. As I came in, I wanted to film these rather lovely beech trees, but then one dog mounted another dog, somebody else's dog, which was a little bit out of order. As the owner said, we've spoken about this. It's flowers first. Anyway, otherwise, apart from that little grumble, which is not a small grumble if you tread in something you don't want to, this is rather lovely. Stansted Park, along with its Edwardian country house, is set in 1,800 acres of woodland and deer grazing landscape. Its history goes back to at least the Norman times, when it was a hunting park with a lodge for Roger de Montgomery. The home at the west end of the park has changed hands a few times and been rebuilt several times over the years. But I think we're very lucky in England to have these parks now open to the public, because they give us a real insight to the splendour of those days long ago. I didn't make it up to the current main house, so I'll have to return another day. Now, as you know, I've started flying the drone, and when I can, I want to try and get some scenic sequences of the borderland countryside. So on the way home, I stopped in a lay-by to fly it. I'm not terribly experienced with these quadcopters, and because it was a bit breezy, I didn't take it up very high. Now, if you look carefully, you can just make out Stansted's Folly, the Racton Tower. That was built around 1766. I just wanted to get some shots and I threw it up. The Racton Folly is in the distance. There's no way I'm going to fly the drone over to it. I don't think my drone is strong enough to do that. I'm on an old bridge which the main road bypasses here, and I just threw it up, wanted to get some shots, at least something in the video to show that I am using the drone. But I had a bit of a mishap in landing. It's quite narrow here, and it did go landing into the grass and hit what looks like a buddleia, I think it is. It's okay, I did another test just to make sure it was flying all right and there was nothing wrong. It was just as it came to the ground, so it survived. But that was a bit hair-raising. And of course there was all these cars going past and I was feeling, a bit conspicuous. Hey-ho.
It's another day and another adventure. Julia and I are heading west. The quest for England and all things English continues. And we're not a million miles from Stansted or Rowland Castle, where I was before.
We come to the pub, Julia.
We have come to the pub, the Hare and the Hounds.
Where is it?
In Stoughton.
A little village.
A little village near
Chichester.
Chichester, yes. Just northwest of Kingley Vale.
And that's where we're going to go to.
And that's where we're going to walk to, in Kingley Vale. From the other angle.
We went to look at the old yew trees down at the south side. I guess we were on the north side, so it's going to be good fun. But we need a drink because we've had a hell of a journey to get here. More on that later.
Oh, we could have stayed in the Hare and Hounds all day, but we're on a mission to explore the church. Oh, nice camper.
No, that's not my van, unfortunately.
It's a very lovely little van.
It is a very lovely little van.
Not as much room as in your van.
No, which is what makes my van extra special. So we've had our drink, which was very nice, thank you very much, in the pub. Although, of course, they gave you ice.
Yeah.
And you don't like ice, and we did specifically ask not for ice, but hey, you know, people are busy. It's nice to see the pubs open, isn't it?
Absolutely, really is.
So we're having a bit of a funny old day. The journey here was just abysmal. The sat-nav firstly took us to the wrong place.
Yeah.
Tried to take us into the backyard of Stansted House.
Yeah, near Rowland's Castle.
Near Rowland's Castle, which is where I was yesterday. And then, I don't know, there was traffic jams and hold-ups and...
Yeah.
It's not
Although
been...
I have to admit, the Arundel bit wasn't too bad today.
No, that's true. So here we are on a beautiful day. Now, of course, we've got Kingley Vale, where we've been before, which is just to our left, and then we've got this little village, Stoughton, and we're going to go and have a look at the church before we go up to Kingley Vale.
Yes.
We're also brought some sandwiches, so we're going to have some lunch.
Yes.
So, yes.
Sounds all very lovely.
Does sound very nice. Hopefully it will be.
Yes.
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 It's a beautiful old barn here. I noticed before we came, we looked on Google Images and Google Street View to look at where the church was, and they've obviously repainted their window frames because they were quite dark blue before, weren't they? And now
They've
they're
been
sort
faded
of...
by the sunlight.
Oh, do you think that's what it is?
I reckon.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
What? They're not faded, they're definitely repainted. Never mind, nice barn. Oh, lovely phone box. And a lovely mini dovecot. Right, on to the church. And here it is. St Mary's of Stoughton, built around 1050 and restored in the mid-19th century. But let's see what I can speculate with my first impression.
Well, Julia, this is a particularly lovely church, isn't it? And now you have to give you all the credit because you found and you suggested coming here and then going to Kingley Vale, and I was all a bit, well, we've done Kingley Vale, haven't we? But I'm glad that you said do this because this is a very curious church. It's a cruciform church, and we'll see that. So it's sort of in the shape of a cross. It dates from about the 11th century, so that makes it quite old, Norman church, and there was probably something, because it's on the top of the hill and it looks down on the village, so most likely there was a Saxon building here, a church of some description. Of course the Normans put theirs. It has got this rather grim cement render, which probably was just a lime wash to begin with the flint initially, and then of course over time there's been a few bits and bobs. But here's an interesting thing. If I come round here, the south transept here is a tower. It's got the bell tower. They've got the bells in it. And originally there was this porticus, or porch, I suppose. And in the 14th century, they've adapted it into that. And then I guess later on, with the brick one behind me, they put into the nave what we see now as a more modern porch. And the other thing I quite like is, although I'm on gravel here, just up this way there's a pathway, and the pathway is made up of all the old tombstones, because they seem to have cleared pretty much all of the tombstones from the grounds. So it's now just, I guess, easier to mow, which is, in my way of thinking, a bit of a shame. I like seeing the graves there, but perhaps no one ever gets interned here anymore.
Yeah, I'm glad I picked this place as well. I mean, it was an ulterior motive for Kingley Vale, because we haven't been there for a while, and there's still more to explore in there, I'm sure. But this church got my attention because you can't see it from street view. You could just see the bit of tower, you know, and the lane up, and I was highly intrigued. And you could see it obviously from above. And I liked the look of it. I liked what I could see, and I wanted to see more. And I'm very glad we've come, because it's just fascinating to look at. I mean, apart from the herringbone kind of flint thing, I mean, I think that must have been done for a reason. It's got a bit of an odd look about it for that. But it's really intriguing. But I'm very disappointed in the one fact: no boot scrapers. And also, without all the stones around, they could have put some meadow grasses in there and meadow flowers. Maybe they still could.
This is weird. Not weird. They put some slate in a regular pattern going up. I think that's where the old scaffold was. Big beams of scaffolding regularly go up, and you often see them in churches. But often they don't fill them in, or because I don't know whether they leave them there in case they need to go back up again. But they filled these in slate. But the other thing is, I often see them associated with a tower when they're building a tower, not on the side of the nave. And unless there was something projecting out of here that they were not scaffold and other beams, I can't really imagine. But whatever it was is no longer here. And the scaffold definitely isn't, but I love all that.
Gorgeous place. Let's go inside, shall we?
Yeah, no, let's.
Wow. It's lovely. It's really, really tall. Which you do notice from the outside, but I didn't think about it, but it's really airy.
It's deceptively high, this church. I mean, you know, Saxon churches would have been much lower because, well, they've got to build it, and probably made of wood, and why would you go too high, apart from the central tower that would have gone up. But here, I think where the Normans came in, they've obviously built it much higher, put height into it. I don't know whether that's an original roof, but you get the sense of the cruciform there with the two crosses and the big arches going through, which is great to see. I like it because it's not been messed about with too much. I mean, clearly, since the 11th century, stuff has gone on. The 14th century bit where the bell tower is and all the sallies hanging down, and actually there is timber going up, which makes you wonder whether it was a timber tower before it was infilled with flint. Maybe that was the case. I haven't had a chance really to read all the information. I like the little lights, little gas lights or paraffin lights, these must be, coming down on massive chains. It's a very lovely feel to it as well. It's quite airy. You don't feel too oppressed. Nice organ, interesting font, and what looks like over there, just lying up against the wall, presumably the old font cover.
I'm not sure why they've removed it, but I wonder if these little holes have anything to do with it. Maybe it's some sort of woodworm, and it's had to be treated. But it's fascinating. It's gorgeous. I love the way they built these things. Replaced by a big wooden square one that goes right over the top. But that's where it would have originally sat. Lovely.
Well, that was lovely.
I was
I don't know about you.
parched.
I'm getting hungry.
That's the one.
Yes.
Perishing.
Perishing?
Oh.
Yeah, perishingly hungry.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the van and get something to eat. Good idea.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Oh, we've got ourselves organised in the van. We've just actually moved up a bit away from the village, so we've got a bit more privacy here. And also, we're just on the edge of the next town, which is called
Walderton? No.
It's the sign is literally in front of the van. I'll put it on the screen. There you go. So, yes, and then there's a path that goes up onto the Kingley Vale. Is it Bow Hill? Bow Hill?
Yeah, B-O-W Hill.
Yeah, so Bow, we'll call it Bow Hill.
Yeah.
If you call it something else.
Then that's your prerogative.
Exactly. So Julia's made up some lovely sandwiches, ham and cheese, and I meant to bring those round red things.
Oh, tomatoes.
Tomatoes. I forgot those. And
very kindly provided all of this stuff by Richard. Thank you very much.
And I've got a cup of coffee. You've got a cup of
lemon tea.
Lemon tea. So it's all good. We did notice in the pub actually that it looked like they had some very lovely food.
Yes, it smelled nice too.
But noisy motorbike coming.
2, 1, 2.
You get all the sounds in the show today. So yeah, the food looked very nice, but of course we'd packed the sandwiches, and the whole point of being in the van is
to use the van.
Yeah, and to save a bit of money. And as much as it's great to see pubs earning again, because we all need to pop into a pub from time to time, today we're going self-catering.
Yes.
So
they had some pennies, well, some pounds off of us for some drinks anyway.
yeah, we bought drinks as you saw, so £6. I've forgotten how expensive it is just to buy just a couple of pints of non-alcoholic beer, non-alcoholic beverages. That's the word. Yeah.
It was lovely to see the fireplaces in there, though. 2 fireplaces called beehive fireplaces. We weren't sure whether they were original. We were, only because of the small bricks, but
yeah.
Turns out they were made in the 80s by a gentleman who also owned the George in
somewhere else.
Eartham. He built them by hand and laid the floors. Very nice.
By hand. Anyway, cheers, Julia.
Cheers.
We'll eat these and then we'll clamber up the hill.
Yes.
Yeah. Julia is carrying the drone.
I insisted.
She said it's going to make a great shot from the top, so we thought we would bring it up with us. Because as you know, trying to get a few more drone shots in the videos because people seem to like it. But it's a bit of a steep hill.
It is.
And anyway, Julia wants to fly it, so...
Well, it's,
I want to fly it too, but we both like flying it, so... Anyway, shall we get to the top? Yes, on y va.
Oh, hello. Hello. Beautiful. So we have a Pinto, I believe, and a dark bay. It's not the breeds, it's just the coloration. The Pinto is the white or grey, unless it's got pink skin, in which case it is a white horse. White with the black spots on is the Pinto, and then the brown one is the bay, dark bay.
Are we lost, Julia?
No, we know where we are. We're just not quite sure where Kingley Vale is from here. Now, I said maybe that way, and you said maybe that way, and turns out you may be right.
Oh, good.
However, it was much further than we thought, and it was getting late, so we figured we'd get the drone up again and see what we could photograph. Now, don't expect anything amazing from our aerial photography. We're both complete novices when it comes to the drone, but it is a lot of fun and we need to practice. Mind you, Julia seems to be much better than me. That's looking south towards the coast. And this is north, with the village of Stoughton and the church in the middle. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, support the channel if you can, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.